Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Well, we're back in. Okay. Can you hear us? Give us a yes or no if you can hear us. Okay. All right. So we restarted, and I don't know if that means that our audio is back or not. But let us know if you can hear us. If you can't hear us, then we'll just come back and try this again later.
mm-mm. Because usually if people can hear us, oh,
Oh
there's
wait,
one
there's
yes.
some yeses. Okay. It's like a Rocky movie when you think he's about to like get knocked out,
Maybe it's a good
and
thing
then he
you
makes a
left and
comeback.
came back in. Maybe that was what it needed.
Yeah, it was the reboot thing. Okay, so we rebooted. So I guess that was our solution. All right, good, good, good. I'm so sorry about that audio thing. I'm gonna tell you, we should have we can have a whole hour conversation about Mexican Wi-Fi.
It's stronger in some places on this resort than others.
Yeah, yeah,
But I'm glad they fixed my Wi-Fi issues.
yeah. It was a mess.
I was really upset.
Been a nice guy who fixed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. So let's dive into the topic then. So there's this couple on the internet. Give us a yes or no if you saw any of this conversation, quote unquote controversy surrounding this. But there was basically a couple that where the wife was talking about how the family manages their finances, and she basically said that she gives her husband, or that's the thing. I think it's her husband, but somebody online said that they weren't married, so I don't know if they're
Well,
married.
she's doing married things.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of people had an issue with it. In fact, I'll go ahead and play the clip so you guys can kind of hear from their perspective and hear what was said. Here we go.
So we both pay bills, but he pays for all of them. Because my check direct deposits into his account, so he can like have all the money in one place, and we can save and stuff. And he like has investments that he invests our money into. He gives me an allowance of $100 a week. Like if I need more, I can ask for more, but normally it's just like $100 a week for like food and like random stuff I want to buy. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. We both pay for stuff, but he handles all the money as the man should.
Okay, so she, in case I assume, let me know if you were able to hear that. Give me a yes or no if you're able to hear it, and then also I'd like to know, did you agree with what she said or not? Did you think it was okay, or did you think that she was crazy, or what do you think? And I'll tell you, the internet, there's a lot of controversy around this video,
Mhm.
where a lot of people say, "Girl, this is stupid. You're crazy. What's wrong with you?" Don't give that man all your money, and then there were people who said, no, this actually sounds good, this sounds like trust. And so I'd be curious to, I'll give you the first word on this, Alicia.
Well,
what what did you think when you heard the
I
video?
don't. Okay, I want to make sure I get the facts together. So we don't know if they're married or not. Let's just say they're married. And let's just say that they're married. And so what she does is she deposits her check in his checking account. Is it a joint checking account? We don't know.
No.
We don't know if it's just his alone. So she deposits money into his checking account, and he puts his money in his checking account, and he covers all the bills.
Oh, Michelle said that's her cousin. She said they're engaged.
Oh, they're
Michelle, yeah,
engaged.
yeah, the internet knows everything, so you got a lot of smart people
Oh
there. So
wait, we have someone. Okay, Michelle.
Michelle Sharif, she said that's my cousin, they're
They're
engaged.
engaged. Okay, so there we go. So they're on their way to being married, and they have come up with this arrangement that he is the one that is going to pay all the bills. She brings in an income, and it goes into his checking account, and he brings his own income in his own checking account. He actually pays the bills. I guess he's a physical person. Somebody's got to set up the auto pay, right? Someone needs to be
Mhm.
responsible for that. And then he gives her an allowance, right, of $100 a week.
Yeah,
Okay,
but she says she can get more if she wants more.
she'd get more if she wants more, and that's never an issue. And so now my internet was down, so I didn't get to see. You said you put it up on your Instagram, and so people were saying that that was awful.
Yeah, well, it was on Twitter where I saw a
Oh,
lot of
Twitter. Okay.
the comments, and I saw a mixed bag of some people saying, that it was fine, and then some people saying this is crazy,
Uh.
that this is, financially illiterate.
Huh.
I'm not down. So my name is Corey. So he says I'm not down with the whole allowance thing.
Yeah, that
She's
word
not
is
his
like,
child,
yeah,
that kind of
that
thing.
allowance is something you give to your children. And so I guess there should be another word for it
Yeah,
other than an
well,
allowance.
what's interesting. Tennessee Williams is asking, would Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia do this?
Would
Um,
we do this? Okay, so everybody's different. I think that looking at her talking about it, it seems like she's happy with it. So why would it? I guess people are just weighing in on it, but why would it matter? If they're happy with it and that's the way they want to operate their relationship, why should we have objection?
what I saw in this conversation
Mm-hmm.
was this word that isn't used very often, that is kind of in rare
Mm-hmm.
supply in our community sometimes, is the word trust. I
Oh.
saw that basically there was a trust she has that says, look, here, you take the money, you handle that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sit over here and not worry about a thing. And really, I believe that's the natural state. That's the natural order of things. That's the way
Yeah.
things are supposed to be. Like that goose that we saw when we were running down the road, and we saw that gangster goose. Y'all know the story about the gangster goose, but there was the
We
goose.
could not get past them.
Yeah, there was a goose in the middle of
Yeah.
the road, and he was blocking us from running by, and we couldn't get through. And he was ready to fight me. Like his neck got real long, his feathers spiked up. He was standing in front of me every step I took. I'll go to the left. He went to the left. I went to the right. He went to the right.
He got you. He pulled your punk card, voice,
He
because we
did.
did. You're 10 times bigger than this little
Yes,
goose,
I walked
but we
away.
did not. We did not go any further.
You know what?
And the other runners were like, "Be careful.
Yeah,
There's a mad goose down there. He's
yeah, I
gonna get you."
respected that goose's territory, and because what I saw was that his woman was
She was
sitting
laying
sitting on eggs. She
eggs.
was laying eggs, and
Yeah,
and she had no like concern at all. She wasn't. She didn't even know that her husband was about to get in a fight to the death.
she was worried about making sure her eggs were good. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
but let me finish that with that
Okay.
point, because to me that's the natural order of things, because that's how my grandmother and my grandfather were. My father said he grew up watching my grandmother not have to worry about things, because my
Mm-hmm.
grandfather would say, "I got this. I'll take care of this." So if she said we need an extra $50 to pay the rent, he would say, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." He would leave. She would stay home and cook and take care of the kids, and then he would come back with $50.
So we know this is your grandparents. How long ago was that marriage? It was a
Right?
long time ago. So
Yeah.
we can't.
Things have changed.
Things have changed, and there's nothing you can do about that. So there's no sense of like fighting that thing. But this is what they have decided. And I have seen couples with this sort of scenario, but there are, couples with this scenario because maybe I don't know her name, but maybe she's bad with money.
Mm,
Maybe she's like, you know what? I get so overwhelmed with paying all the bills. It's something I don't like to do. It drives me crazy and I'm not responsible enough. Maybe she can't be trusted with the money. I have seen that before between couples.
mm.
They were like, you know what? She's got a gambling addiction. And
Uh-huh.
so she cannot have access to the money because she'll go to the casino and spend all the money. So
Her
we
name
would get
is her name is Zakia, by the way.
Zakia. So we don't know if that's what's going on. Then it makes sense if you think about it that way. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, she's not good at paying bills. So I'll pay the bills. I'll be the one that actually pays the bills. Let me manage the money. Maybe she's good at other stuff.
Yeah,
You never
I think,
know.
and I would say that, and then who knows? Maybe there's not. Maybe she's fine with money, but they just delegate the responsibility, right?
Could be.
I watched a video by the brother. I don't have the brother's
We're
name. So
speculating.
Michelle, if you can tell us the name of the brother, we can also mention his name.
What's her name
The
again?
the man marrying Zakia. So
Zakia.
yeah,
Okay.
so here's the thing. All right, um, assuming that the video is not satire, assuming that this is really how they operate,
She seemed
I did.
authentic.
Well, I saw a video where he was talking about their relationship, and they were they waited, or they were trying to be what's the word, celibate, and
Abstinence?
abstinent,
Abstinence,
yeah, yeah,
right?
and they were honoring God and things like that. So it sounds like they have a deeper set of principles that
Uh-huh.
they operate on. And I personally, even though I'm not real religious and I don't go to church and all that, but I respect that. I respect that immensely because I think
Uh-huh.
that because what I think your faith gives you is it can give you a code of behavior, and as long as it's not harming anybody, it can actually help keep a family together. I do believe that. I believe that if because I've seen scenarios where people might have got a divorce otherwise or
Mm-hmm.
broke up otherwise, but they said, "Look, I'm not really serving my spouse. I'm serving God right now." And I think that sometimes that little thing can hold you together when nothing else does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For right or wrong. For right or wrong.
Yeah, so here we go with another celibate abstinence scenario like before, and we know that that does not make a strong marriage in and of itself. So what?
But wouldn't it be to each his own though?
Well,
Wouldn't it be a
it is
matter?
to each. I'm not saying I'm against it. I mean, they could do whatever they want, but they can't think that because we're going to wait until we get married that that's going to be the answer to everything.
I don't think it's the answer to everything.
Well, I think that, I'm just making that point.
Yeah.
I mean, they're promoting celibacy and saying that, well, actually, was he really promoting it? Because it didn't seem like he was able to be celibate.
Well, what he said was he said you can do you. He
Hmm.
didn't say do me. He said you can do you.
Did he
But
say
this
that? I
is
didn't hear him say that.
yeah, yeah. I listened to him carefully. He seems like a smart brother.
Really?
Yeah, I respect, you
Why
know
did you
what?
get that?
Well, you know what it is? I respect anybody who believes in something, even if you don't believe what I believe. Like,
Okay.
what do you believe in? What do you stand on as a man? Like, what is your code? Do you even have a code? And I think a code is important because a code reminds you of who you are. Like even when in business, first thing we do in the Black business schools, we teach people to set up their core values for their business. What do
Hmm.
you believe in? What is your code? That way you know what money is good money and what money is bad money.
Yeah, but that's his code. But he just talked about how they looked on at a calendar and they weren't able to follow that particular code.
Right.
They didn't have the discipline
Yeah.
to abstain.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
So
and I
that's
remember
the problem with those
it,
type.
it's it
Go ahead.
I mean, I think it could be tough, and I do agree. But just because you fail doesn't mean that you shouldn't be honored for trying, right? Like I remember when I was in undergrad, my goal was to study 8 hours a day because I wanted to be the best student on campus, and I was the number one student in finance at Kentucky. But I never studied. I never made my goal. I would always set the goal to be 6 to 8 hours a day. I would only do like 3 or 4, right? But I still was head and shoulders above everybody else. But I didn't reach the goal. But you know what happened was by the time I got about 28, 29, and I was finishing my PhD and became a professor, I was meeting the mark. I was reaching the goal. And that stayed with me through life. That's why how I became successful was that I learned how to train myself to work
Hmm.
10, 12, 14 hours a day. And so sometimes when you're young, you aim for the sky and you just keep missing, but you got to keep trying.
Yeah, so I don't know. I would suggest for actually, you know what? It's kind of a turn on to say abstinence. Let's just not do it. And then
Mm.
that's in your head and you're sleeping in the bed with that person and then you do it. I bet it's really passionate between them. If you think
Yeah.
about it, it's like a conundrum. It's called a paradox.
What?
It's like it is called a paradox. It's like, okay, we're gonna be abstinent. And then that's all you think about. And then it's gotta be like really passionate to just be like, let's just break it and do it. It's
well,
like
well,
fun.
it's that sexual repression
I
that
love that. That
well,
actually is pretty.
well,
Maybe everybody should do it. Keep the passion going.
well, it's the sexual repression. That's why a lot of the church girls are the biggest freaks. Yeah, that's
Yeah. So it tells you about
you know what it is.
people who
Come on now.
take the Bible literally. It just tells you about, and he's able to admit to say, this is not something natural, but it's something in the Bible. So he's
Yeah.
given a more fundamentalist. I believe that's a more fundamental mentalist approach to the Bible. There's different approaches you can give to the Bible, and I
Mm,
guess some people see it as an allegory. Some people see it as a story of our own selves, and some people see it as a literal. Those people really existed. So
mm.
whatever it is what it is. So a very interesting interpretation he has.
Hi, well, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm with my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, and we are doing Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia. If you could take a second, everybody, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, and also subscribe if you haven't done that yet. And also, you can follow Alicia at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. She's a licensed therapist, and so she sees couples and helps them solve their relationship problems
Mhm.
using sound, proven or research and techniques that have been shown to work. So if you want to go take a look at what she does, feel free to go to her website, coachingwithdralicia.com, or you can follow her on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. All right, so
So
here's
you
the
were
deal. Let's
talking
get
about,
back to the financial part.
yeah, you were talking about what works.
Yeah.
Um, mhm.
Oh, go ahead.
Did you want to say something?
I'd like to at some point, but go ahead. It's your turn. Go ahead.
Uh-oh. What
You
am I am I am
you
I
can have another
saying too
turn, baby.
much?
Yes, dear.
No, I was listening to you talk about things that are proven. And, I think the best in terms of finances between couples, it's whatever they decide. If they decide and he's paying the money and he is paying all the bills and she can trust him to do that and the lights ain't getting cut off, then it works for them. But the goal, I think, what I would recommend in terms of finances between couples, and people don't have to do this, and I can't say that I've always done it myself, okay? But I think that you should have your own checking account. Everybody should have their own individual checking account. You should give each other passwords to it just in case something happens. But and then I also think that you should have something joint.
Mm,
I think that it should be like that in how you run your marriage. So, Boyce, you have your life, I have my life, and then we have our life together. So we can maintain our own identity as separate, but also together. So that's always pretty healthy. That's something that I recommend. What do you
yeah.
think?
Well, what I will say, okay. First of all, I want everybody to know that I acknowledge and I see your comments. I think somebody mentioned that they wish we could get the two of them on live so they could tell us more about their perspective. So I think their cousin is in here. So if you're listening, let them know they're invited. Email manager@boycewatkins.com. That's manager@boycewatkins.com, and yeah, connect with us because I'd love to have them on. I think that hearing from them would be absolutely the best way to kind of handle this. So I'm not here to speculate on their relationship. I personally didn't have a big issue with what she said. Now, I try to look at it from the male perspective and the female perspective. So if that was my daughter and she said that, what would I say to my daughter? What I would say to my daughter is, I think it's awesome that you've learned how to trust this man at that level. I think that what you described requires a lot of trust, and I respect that immensely.
Mm-hmm.
Trust is a powerful asset that you are giving to another person that can be used as a weapon if it's turned against you. So, um, basically, I would tell her what I tell my girls, which is don't trust men who are not sturdy men. Like, make sure you have a reason to
So
trust that man
trustworthy people. Yeah,
right,
that makes
what
sense.
because what I have seen is trust to me for when it comes to men, or when I trust a person, it's that, do I trust you to simply do what you say you're going to do, to follow through when you say you're going to follow through? Do I trust you to keep me safe? Right? Even if I don't know everything that's going on in terms of how you do it, do I trust that you're going to keep me safe? So when I think about trust, I think about, and I think it's interesting when you saw so many women who were triggered by her statement who said, "Oh no, girl, you don't do that. You don't give
Oh, hold
you."
on, hold on. That's not what they don't
No,
do
no, no,
that.
no.
I
Go,
don't like when you
but
mock
okay, okay.
women.
I'm not mocking women. I'm
That's
not. No,
not
no,
what
no,
they
no,
were
no, 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 no,
saying.
no. I'm not mocking women.
They
I'm not.
weren't
No, no,
yelling.
no, no. I'm not mocking. I'm not mocking women. I'm mocking those women
Yeah, but
who
that's not what
who
they were
were who were
doing.
saying, well, let me finish my statement.
Okay.
So they no, what are you? That's crazy. You a dodo head. You're stupid, right? When I heard that, you know what I heard? I heard the voices of traumatized women who've never known what it looks like when you can really trust a man like that at that level. They don't know trust. They don't know what that female goose was feeling when we were on that trail, when she trusted that her man was going to keep her safe so she could lay those eggs. She wasn't worried. She
Mhm.
wasn't constantly looking over her shoulder. She wasn't constantly checking like, hey, yo, nigga, you need me to back you up, nigga. Like she
No,
was.
okay.
But
You know
seriously,
what? I do not like. I
I
do
know.
not like you mocking black women. That is really not cool. I think they were just gently saying, "Hey, sis."
No, they weren't gently saying it. No,
No,
look at the comments. Look at the comments.
they
People,
don't. They
how
don't
many
have
of
to be.
y'all? How many of y'all saw? See, look, even her cousin Michelle. You need to read the comments, baby.
I don't read
She
the
said
comments.
no. You got to read these comments. She said they actually were in an uproar, serious trust issues. So sad. I agree. So here you
Hmm.
go. Here you go. You
Well,
can.
this is information
I
that
yeah.
that we don't
So y'all
have.
about to hear me and my wife disagree. You can have your perspective, right? I'm not gonna
I'm
take
just
that.
going
I'm
off of
not
what I
right. Hold on,
see.
wait. Let me finish.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna take that away from you. But what I am gonna say is that there were some people who were really pissed off at this young lady and dogging her out like crazy. And it
Hmm.
offended me because that was the language of individuals, in my view, who've never been in a situation where they could trust a man, starting with their own daddy.
Maybe. But, it could be that's one way of interpreting that. It could be like, "Hey sis, what's up? It may be nice if you had your own stuff. You can, more than just $100. If she gets $100 a week, maybe she can tuck that away and put that in her own checking account or save it up. It's like, sis, look, maybe you need to have your own. I mean, what if he sleeps with the secretary and runs off somewhere? You never know. So, I mean, I think
And
I
I
think
and
that
I
that's
and I
always.
agree,
It
but
doesn't have
so,
to be an angry advice. It could
well,
just
it
be
was
something
angry
harmless.
advice. Go look at my Twitter. You'll see what I'm talking
I
about.
don't
But
look at your
here's
Twitter.
what I'm gonna say on that though, right? I thought about it, and when I whenever I want to understand something, especially something on gender, I do something that I used to do. We used to do all the time as standard practice when we did research when I was working on my PhD. What you do is what you might call multivariate analysis,
Uh huh.
where
Yeah.
you shift a variable,
Uh
and
huh.
then you say, does the result look the same? So basically, what the variable I shift is gender. If a man was to trust a woman on that level,
Hmm.
would there be lines and lines of people saying, "Oh man, you crazy dog. You can't be trusting her. She might run off and start dating the plumber. She might take all your what I don't think people would do that. I don't think that the anger would be the same as it was when this young lady expressed her point of view. So to me, for example, I trust you in the kitchen. If somebody said, "Well, how does the food get cooked in the house? How do you get your food, boys?" I say, "You know what I do? I put money into a joint checking account, and I pay down the credit card balance, and
It's
my
true.
wife, right, my wife takes the credit card, and she goes to the grocery store. She picks out the food, and then, well, how do you decide what you eat? Well, she asked me. I can probably get her to cook whatever I want, but usually she decides. I come upstairs and she tells me we're having chili for dinner, and I eat the chili.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if people were like, you let her pick the food, you let her have your credit
Hmm.
card, she could poison your food. Like, well, yeah, she could. All those things are true, but the trust is there.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I heard in her voice, was the same trust she had toward that man that a lot of men have in a good woman.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you're a busy guy. You're a busy person. So I actually pay the bills. I physically pay the bills. Like, it ain't all my money, but I
Mhm.
pay the bills, and you trust me to actually pay the bills. I mean, you give me money to pay the bills, but I pay the bills, and I do that because I don't want you to have to worry about that. I want
Mhm.
you to go and get on YouTube and Instagram and do your thing. I don't
Yeah.
want you to have to worry about that. So it all just depends. It all depends. It's all good as long as everybody comes through for each other.
Well, I personally thought that it was nice she was able to have that trust. I will agree though that I think having something of your own kind of helps or at least in the very sense that when you have that much
Hmm.
trust with another person, you got to take the time to imagine, what if
Hmm.
this person became my enemy?
Yeah.
You got to look at how people treat their enemies as well as their friends. So, like for example, if you're married to a man who kills people for a living, if he gets mad at you, he's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Like, stop thinking that you're exempt, that you're different.
Well, it has
Or
to be. I'm sorry, I'm gonna jump in because I have to leave in a second. But I think that the trustworthiness is so key. And what I'm seeing from the cousin, I'm not reading the comments, but what I got from the cousin, this particular person may not be very trustworthy, and so that raises
I
concern.
don't think the cousin said that.
Oh, well, I thought somebody said it. I thought you
Yeah,
said that the cousin was putting in information that was saying that he's not necessary. It's so sad. Did you not say that earlier, or did I not hear you correctly?
I
Anyway, like, if that person is not trustworthy and a controlling individual who could potentially be very abusive, sometimes it's difficult to get out of an abusive situation if you don't have finances, if you don't have money.
Mm,
And so I
mm-hmm.
have worked with a lot of women where I've had to strategize with them on how to put aside money, sneaking in a way that's very where they can't be caught with their sneak and put money away, and then have like a stash bag. If they ever feel unsafe, they grab that stash bag with money and important documents in there and they run and they get out. They have a safe person that they have planned that they can go to if they ever feel like they're in danger. So I mean, in some ways, if that person's not very trustworthy, if they have really poor boundaries and want to be abusive to you, it can make you very vulnerable. So I would give some sort of agreements to some of the objections to that sort of scenario.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, I can definitely hear that. I mean, it's again, it does take trust. Again, it's just like me letting you cook all my food. You could poison me. You could starve me. Maybe who
Hmm.
knows? I mean, I think it's and I think that's why also
Well,
you go
you've
back.
lived so long, like
Well,
you can
yeah,
trust me because you're still
yeah.
alive.
Well, that goes back to the when you talk about trust, it goes back to vetting people, like really taking the time to vet people. And what I liked about, I heard him talk about their relationship. And one of the things I picked up on was I got this sense that he said that the reason he was trying to be celibate was because he said, we enjoyed the pleasure of sex and I really want sex, but I wanted to know her. I wanted to appreciate her. And he said that not focusing on the sex allowed me to really love her and see her for who she is. And I, as a man, I can approve that message. I mean, it's an unconventional approach, or whatever. But I personally think that that's pretty cool, pretty admirable.
Yeah, it is pretty admirable, and I don't know how long they've been together, but exploring each other in that intimacy, that sort of intimate way, is part of getting to know that person too.
Hmm. Yeah, so I think the,
Yeah.
the the rule at the end of the day is do you make the choices that work for you, and my advice on that would be when you let people in your life, make sure you're letting the right people in your life. Make sure you take the time to get to know them.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
some people don't have the skills to even see red flags.
hmm.
They don't even know what health looks like in a relationship. They have no idea. So they're prone to letting in all these people and trusting people. Had no they had no reason to trust them. There's
That's
some
true.
people they're just clueless. So you're giving advice like, "Oh, be careful who you let in," but some people just
Hmm.
don't have that sort of
Discernment.
discernment. That sort They can't read people very well. They're trusting people, and everyone around them is like, "You don't see what I see." It can be pretty frustrating, and then they end up in this woe is me situation, and the people around them are saying they told you who they were early on. Why did you ignore those signs? And it's too bad that people can't aren't able to judge, aren't a good judge of character.
Well, my advice to anybody who's not a good judge of character, which I think applies to a lot of us, because we all have our blind spots and our biases and the things that trigger us. I would advise you to get outside advice. That's why,
Okay.
I think therapy is something everybody should do because a therapist can help you kind of figure some things out. When you get in a relationship, get a couples therapist because
Uh-huh.
relationships are managed better when you have a referee, a person in the middle that can help you see things you can't see.
Yeah, I
I think those things. Hold on, let me finish
hmm
this.
hmm
So I think that those things are critical in terms of saying to yourself, look, if you find yourself consistently making the same mistake over and over again, don't keep making the same mistake and say, well, I just don't know what to do. Get people around you who know what to do. Get people
yeah.
around you who are going to see what you don't see. Because sometimes your friends can see more things in that person than you can see because maybe you're blinded by the sex.
Yeah, I want to add something in there. I think it's really nice that you're saying look outside of yourself to figure out if you're able to read people well and make good decisions. But I also think the reason why you're not able to see the red flags is that you're not in tune with your own self. So if you were to get outside therapy, that therapy should be centered around what's happening internal. Why aren't you able to discern? And part of that discernment, you can't get to know another person deeper than you know yourself.
Mm,
So I think that there is a disconnect between you and yourself, which means there's a disconnect between you and everyone else around you. And you get blindsided by things.
mm,
And you keep wondering, why are these terrible things happening to me? and not happening to everyone else around me? Why is that person able to pick a good mate and I'm picking alcoholics every time I turn around, or I'm picking abusive men. That's my trend. I keep picking all these abusive men. What am I missing? Well, you're missing something within yourself.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, there you go. This is the last word. So thank you guys for listening and hanging out with us for Coaching with Dr. Alicia this week. If you want to check out more of what Dr. Alicia has going on, you can go to coachingwithdralicia.com. And this is our Pillow Talk. Pillow Talk is where we talk about all the things that are happening in the world, and we give you kind of a Black professor's perspective because I know we're not rappers or entertainers, and that's what people find interesting, but we actually think it's okay to be smart. So if you think it's okay to be smart and you like smart conversations, then this is the place for you. So please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe button, and we are out of here. And again, Alicia's website is coachingwithdralicia.com, where you can follow her on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. So take care, guys. Have a great day, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.